for the opener today, students got a communicator with this inserted inside real world area and perimeters. The sheet looked like this. So if you'll pause the video and read this on a scratch piece of paper and follow these instructions and check back with me to see what it should be. What the area and perimeter of each of these should be. Perimeter is the distance around a shape. If the bottom is 10, the top is 10, if the right is 2, the left is 2. So if you needed to add 10 plus 10 plus 2 plus 2, and that is 24 yards for the perimeter. I was telling them in class, if you have 2 of the sides, you can add those 2 together and then double that, because that will be what the other 2 sides are, just a duplicate addition sentence. So when you find those sides, 12 and then 12 plus 12, if that makes sense. If not, just add all the sides like we've been doing. And then the area of this is we're going to multiply how long it is by how wide it is, and that is 20 square yards. For this shape, if we add 8 plus 4 plus 8 plus 4, 12 and 12 again, that is 24 yards. And then the area is how long it is by how wide it is, 4 times 8, or 8 times 4, and that's 32 square yards. And then for this shape, if the perimeter is add all the sides, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, 16 yards. And then the area is 4 times 4. So hopefully that's what you got for all those measurements. And I think that's what they were doing. Ellen was hired to put sandboxes in a new playground. She's looking at 3 different sections of the playground to help her find out the area and the perimeter of each rectangular section. So you would have submitted those measurements to somebody to help them decide. And that's all there was to that one. Today's lesson is about finding the same area and different perimeter. Emma drew the rectangle at the right. What other rectangles have the same area, the same space inside, but different perimeters? We can use a drawing to help us find the rectangles with the same area but different perimeters. So these are some others that we looked at. The area of Emma's rectangle is 16 square units. These pictures below are 2 other rectangles that also have an area of 16 square units, so the amount of space inside. We can turn these rectangles on their sides and we would have a rectangle 1 unit wide and 16 units tall. It would look like this. This one if it was turned up. And another rectangle that would be 2 units wide and 8 units tall. We took that one and stood it on. It would look something like that. And the area of those both would also be 16 square units. So what they did was took these measurements and put them in a table, all the rectangles have the same area, same amount of space on the inside, and the different perimeters, the amount of space, the distance around the outside, if we were to go back and count those. For instance, we would count the distance around this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So the perimeter of this one is 16 units. The distance around this shape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. The perimeter around that is 34 units. And it would be the same for this one that got turned on its side, stood up. Then the perimeter for this shape, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And because this was just the same shape turned on its side, its perimeter would also be 20 units. So that's what they did with all of these rectangles. They took and put all these measurements in a table. How long it was, by how wide it was, and found area. And we counted and got the perimeter, so we've got the same thing. And with the one that was 8 units long and 2 units wide right here. So that's how you find area. Don't we just multiply how long it is by how wide it is? So I could just add a times symbol and an equal symbol to turn this into a multiplication sentence. All of these, the area is the same, but the perimeter was different. This one is that rectangle that got turned on its side, and that one is this rectangle that got turned on its side. I've already answered these questions by going over that on that previous page. You have the try it slip if you'll just take it out and look at it and draw a rectangle that has the same area but different side lengths. And if you'll just use that same idea from the table below, if you'll think of what number can you multiply together to get the same number. The area is 9, the length is 9, and the width is 2. And that equals 18. What other numbers multiplied together equal 18? So you could make one, we could flip that one and you could make it 2 rows long and 9 rows tall. 3 times 6. So you can make it 3 long and 6 wide, or you can make it 6 wide and 3 long. 1 by 18. These are just all those different, like we did with those first examples, take those different measurements and turn it into a rectangle. Once you do that, if you look at the perimeters of both and see if the perimeter of the one you drew is the same, is it greater than, or is it less than? Don't spend a whole lot of time on that. Just give it a try. Look at this rectangle below. Draw a rectangle that has the same area but a different perimeter. So we got to find out the area of this one first. And this tip over here helps us. The area is 4 units by 9 units or 36 square units. So what numbers other than 4 and 9 are factors, or two numbers multiplied together give you 36? In class, some students said, I know that 6 times 6 is 36. They said they knew that 3 times 12 is 36. So either one of those would be measurements you could use and draw a rectangle that was 6 units long and 6 units wide, or you could draw one that was 3 units long and 12 units wide, and you don't even have to take the time to draw it to fill in all the different squares. You can just make it long and call it 12 and make this short and call it 3 and figure out the perimeter of those. So if you did this, you would add all the sides. 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6. The perimeter is 24 units. Or if you would have done one like this, 12 plus 12 plus 3 plus 3, that would be a perimeter of 30. Going back to this one, 9 plus 9 plus 4 plus 4, that would have been a perimeter of 26. So this perimeter right here, it would be less than the perimeter of this example. This one right here, the perimeter would have been more than the one in the example. So we're finding measurements and then comparing them to one another. Draw a rectangle the same area but different perimeter. If the area of this one is 6 times 2, so that would be 12. The distance around the shape is 6 plus 2 plus 6 plus 2. That is 16. So again, if we're going to draw a rectangle with the same area, we have to think about, well, what other numbers multiplied together that we could use for how long it is and how wide it is. That is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. And we have enough of those. For somebody in class, they said 1 times 12 or 12 times 1. And yes, that's true, but if we're using this grid, we didn't have 12 squares wide or 12 squares long to be able to do that. I think we went with 3 times 4 in class. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then I'm going to draw out that rectangle. And the area is the same as the one on the right, the one on the left. 3 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4, got to go find the perimeter then, and that is 14 units. So areas are the same, but the perimeter, the rectangle A on the left compared to rectangle B, the perimeter is greater than 16 is more than 14. So the distance around this rectangle is more than the distance around this rectangle. All right, you try this one. We got to find the area and perimeter for the rectangle on the right. We're calling it rectangle A for you to be able to figure out what measurements you would use for rectangle B. Pause the video and see if you can figure that out and then check back with me. So the area is going to be 4 times 4, 16 square units. Perimeter is 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. That's 16 units, the distance around the outside. So same area, we got to think about, okay, what numbers multiply together give me 16? 2 times 8 is 16. Anything times 3 equals 16? No. 4 times 4, but that's the one that's used for rectangle A, so we can't use that one. We don't have 16 squares, so we could either say 2 rows of 8 or 8 rows of 2. I think we actually had to say 8 rows of 2 because there are not 8 that go across. Eight times 2. That's the big thing when we're doing this, keeping these two straight. 8 plus 2 plus 8 plus 2, that is 20 units. Comparing the perimeter of A with the perimeter of B, 16 is less than 20. So the distance around rectangle A is smaller than around rectangle B. This one, if you'll pause the video and you figure out the perimeter and area of both of these shapes and then check back with me. Perimeter is 12 units. Area, we can't multiply how long it is by how wide it is because it's not a rectangular shape, so we just need to count the squares. And that's 6 square units. The distance around this shape is 10 units, and the area is 6. So the area is the same. The amount of space inside, the distance around the shape, the perimeter of this shape is bigger than the perimeter of the shape on the right. One more. Pause the video and you calculate perimeter and area of each, and let's take a look at them. 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3, that's 14. 3 times 4 is 12 square units. I got 16 units. 6 plus 2 is 8. 6 plus 2 is 8. Okay. And then 2 times 6 is 12 square units. So again, the area is the same. The perimeter, 14 is less than 16. So the perimeter of rectangle A is less than. Just a lot of comparison. So in class, we calculated the area of all of these and the perimeter of all of these, and we figured out which rectangles had the same area but a different perimeter. I think we did enough practice on those for the lesson side we just looked at. If you'd like to pause the video and just practice that on your own, otherwise we're going to move on to this one. So the quick check. True or false? Rectangle A and B have different areas but the same perimeter.
Miss Outlaw,
Yes, ma'am.
do you have William Davis?
No, ma'am. He's with Miss Wilson.
Okay, thank you.
So the area of rectangle A is 6 square units. The area of rectangle B is 6 square units. So is that true that they have different areas but different perimeters? No, they have the same area. So that makes that question false. That's it for today's lesson. Let me know if you have any questions. Fill out the math practice sheet, and you can check answers with the answer key with me in the morning during homeroom, or with a partner when you get back. If you're staying out for an extended period, you need to take a picture of your math practice page and submit that to me as soon as you finish it.